Good morning. Great morning, wonderful morning, spectacular morning, outstanding morning, magnificent morning. Yes, again and again and again and again. That beautiful reminder that we get to choose what things mean. You get to choose what this moment means, what's happening in this moment, of which, by the way, is fundamentally meaningless. Remember, everything is fundamentally meaningless. Everything just is. Nothing is good or bad. It's our thinking that makes it so. I remember the first time I heard that. What the fuck are you talking about? I go, what do you mean everything's fundamentally meaningless? I go, well, it is. And I was thinking, is it really? Then I started to dive deep into it and I realized, oh my God, it's true. Everything just is. How you see yourself, that's an opinion. And by the way, that's what a belief is. A belief is an opinion. And what's beautiful about that is your belief can change. It doesn't have to stay the same. And why that's important is because what you believe determines how far you go. It is done unto you as you believe. Write that in your notes again. It is done unto me as I believe. Circle the word as. Type that in the comments. It is done unto me as I believe. Yes, it's done unto me as I believe. What's done unto me? The results of my life. How much I earn, what I do for work, my lifestyle. All rooted in belief. Don't change your belief. Results aren't going to change. And this is why these calls are so important. It's because if you are here and if your mind is open, if you are reevaluating, what changes? What's been changing for you? Your belief, hasn't it? Hasn't your belief about you have been changing? Okay, nod your heads. Yes, has, right? And because of that, guess what's changing? Your results. It's so beautiful when you get that. And Charles Hennell does a beautiful job diving into the importance of right thinking and the importance of understanding who you truly are. And it's our hope and our desire that you get that too as well for you, so that you can manifest this, of which is one of many ideas. Wave your gold card, hold this. Remember, this should be more important than your phone. With this being said, if you believe in your ability to accomplish really great things, if you believe and become one with this, it'll take place. It's not a matter of whether or not it'll happen. It's a matter of when from there. Isn't that beautiful? It's a matter of when. It's a matter of when. Wow, so cool. Again, now let's dive into this, shall we? Let's go into this and move and lock into this beautiful change that has been going on with us. All right, here we go. One, two, three. Boom. All right. Now, here in this particular section here, and this is in the book on page 214, Charles Hennell's been going deep into understanding the importance of being responsible. Now, here he touched a little bit into it with regards to Hindu worshipers and then also some other people as well that deal with what's called psychic things. And then he goes further into what's called telepathy. Now, this is really, really important because thought is the only creative power there is. Okay? How you think leads to how you feel, which then leads to what you do. And here, again, he emphasizes this in a beautiful way. Telepathy or thought transference has received considerable attention, but as it requires a negative mental state on the part of the receiver, the practice is harmful. A thought may be sent with the intention of hearing or seeing, but it will bring the penalty attached to the inversion of the principle involved. Now, what's he talking about here? Well, he's talking about how that it requires there to be someone in control in order for that to work. And then he goes even further with hypnotism. Hypnotism is positively dangerous to the subject as well as the operator, but it's not for the reasons that you think. And this is really important to get. No one familiar with the laws governing the mental world would think of attempting to dominate the will of another, for by so doing, he will gradually but surely divest himself of his own power. Now, what is it that he is bringing up here that is important for you to get? Well, it's what it is he's pulling in a clear warning against misusing and misunderstanding psychic, mental, or metaphysical powers. More specifically, these powers that require passivity, manipulation, or domination of others. Because there are some people who do get this, who, because of the paradigm they have, will use it to try and to control others. Think about it this way: your subconscious mind. Remember, it's amenable to suggestion. When you are in a state where you are receptive to ideas, if somebody who understood this and had a manipulative paradigm inside of them could use it to try and get you to do things that you don't want to do. But anyways, it's not about recognizing whether or not this stuff is real or powerful. It's about understanding the dangers involved with these psychic and mental, or he basically refers to them as perversions. And then he also points out how later on you'll see that he's separating the real power versus the false power. And he talked about that earlier when he went through this. Okay. Now, think about this. When he's talking about hypnotism, his reference to hypnotism and telepathy, he's saying, okay, yes, they're impressive, but they require mental receptivity, they require domination, which inherently, when you look at that, it's harmful. And it weakens, actually, what's interesting is it weakens the practitioner more than it does the other side. But anyways, let's go a little bit further. All of these perversions have their temporary satisfaction and for some keen fascination, but there is an infinitely greater fascination in a true understanding of the world of power within. A power which increases with use, is permanent instead of fleeting, which not only is potent as a remedial agency to bring about the remedy for past errors or results of wrong thinking, but is a prophylactic agency protecting us from all manner and form of danger. And finally, is an actual creative force with which we can build new conditions and environments. So this is what he's talking about here. He's talking about how the real power is when you are working within on the paradigm, changing the paradigm. If you think in terms of the when he's talking about these, telepathy, hypnosis, or whatever, those things work, but they're temporary, and it's what's called false power. But when you deal with you and what's in you, it results in a permanent change. So you can again look at it this way. Those other forms are like short term, but true power, when you look at what he's talking about here, comes from understanding that you get it by mastering your inner world. Think about that. There's a huge difference between the two. Write this in your notes. I must master my inner world. I must master what's in my mind. Now, why is this important? Why? Because the inner power is permanent. And in terms of when you use it, it grows when you use it. Think of it in terms of this lasting good. You want lasting good, you got to work on shifting what you believe to be true, the habits you have. See, that's what's in your inner world. Remember, your outer world is a reflection of what's happening in your inner world. Your inner world is a world of thought. More specifically, a lot of that automatic thought. You can look at it this way with what he's talking about here. He's talking about avoiding passive or manipulative practices that are there that distort this mental energy, but instead lock into truth aligned thinking, which is, the use of this thought. This is, I'll give you an example, just a practical example. Here we have the goal card. Practical example with regards to this. Okay. Yeah, you're putting on your heart. When you sync with this, when you become one with this, when you're loyal to this idea, what are you doing? You're adjusting what's happening in you internally. And the more you do it, the more you practice it, it makes it permanent. See, there's no, I guess you say, dependence on an outside source to be able to shift that. See, think in terms of hypnosis, telepathy, somebody, you know, putting that in you when really you have the power in yourself. And that's what he's pointing out.